Welcome to the March trustees meeting. And we have a guest tonight and we have a non-guest, but a new person. So we're going to go around and do introductions, and Wendy, we'll start with you.
I'm Wendy Rao, the Children's Library Assistant Director.
I'm Lydia Goodwin. I'm the new director here at Public Library. Love it.
It started yesterday.
Thank you.
Good morning, Wendy Ragged.
And Lydia Cup, and I'm one of the trustees.
I'm Melanie Haley. I'm one of the trustees. I'm also the treasurer.
I'm Carolina Bodmer, a trustee and secretary.
I'm Karen Town, former trustee, now an alternate.
And I'm Susan Gaudiello. I'm the trustee chair.
Diane Madariaga, and I just got elected to the trustees. It was a hard race, yeah. Yeah, hard lot, yeah.
Good marketing spin.
Yeah. And my signs up.
Ezra Hodgson, trustee.
Robert Drew, between trustee and alternate, I'm not sure which.
Robert is a longtime trustee. He did not run for re-election this year, but he's planning to put in an application to be appointed by the select board as an alternate. We can have up to 3 alternates.
I'm Diane St. Jean. I am on the Barrington Library Foundation, and I am here to present tonight for the library, a proposed logo for the library.
Debbie Dady, fairly new resident and former teacher, former school librarian, and
Awesome.
Richard Campagnone, trustee.
And you got elected too.
Yes.
So
yeah. They're all two.
So I think, I have to tell you this, Richard, I think to be technically legally correct, I think we're gonna have to have Karen vote in your place because you didn't get sworn in,
Very good.
but Karen and Diane did. And I'm just curious, Debbie, where did you teach?
Oh, I'm originally from Kentucky.
Kentucky. Oh, you don't have much of an accent.
Well, I've been gone a long time. Since college.
What did you teach?
I taught first grade, and then I was a school librarian for pre-K through 6, and then pre-K through 12.
Wow. And what schools?
In St. Romuald's in Hardinsburg, Kentucky. I'm sure you know it.
A little town, is that a little town?
Yeah, and then 2 schools, one in for Sales, Kentucky, and one in Lexington, Kentucky.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna ask you what
We have
brought you to
juve
Hampshire.
books, right?
Juvenile books.
Right.
I mean, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know you came here because you wanted to have experience winter and it's full.
Oh, my.
Glory.
Yeah. Grandkids brought us here.
Oh, that's another, good excuse.
Deb, would you be so kind as to spell your last name?
Sure. D is in dog, A is in apple, D is in dog, E is in everyone, and Y is in yesterday.
Okay.
ADE1.
I am having trouble with my hearing, and I would like to ask people to please speak up. Thank you.
Okay. Public comment. Is there anyone here who wants to make any public comment? I don't see anybody on the screen. No? Okay, we have a busy meeting tonight. And Richard, if you would share I don't know if I sent you the agenda, Debbie. I don't think I did.
No.
So maybe you're not share with you.
Yeah.
The public meeting minutes of February 18th. Did you receive those?
I didn't receive.
I know Melanie got them and I said, these are perfect. And I don't think I've sent them on to anybody else.
I received it.
Did anybody get them from February? No, okay.
No.
We will accept those minutes at the next meeting. So we're gonna pass on that. Sorry about that. Election of officers. I put this up early. At the first meeting after the March elections is when we elect new officers of the trustee board. And the current officers are myself as chair, Melanie as treasurer, Carolina as secretary, and Lydia as vice chair. So Carolina has told me she would really like to step down, at least until she gets hearing aids.
I've done it since 2020. I just realized looking back, and it'd be good to have a break, but in particular, my hearing is not so good these days. So I hope someone else will be willing. to
Melanie, are you willing to continue as treasurer?
Yes.
Be a good thing. Lydia?
I mean, I will continue as vice chair as long as it's not the expectation that I will sometime be chair, because I do not want to be the chair. So if somebody else wants to be vice chair.
Succeeding me as chair. We don't have to make it all today, but I'm happy to continue as chair, at least to get us through the summer.
Yes.
Summer of 2030.
Get us through the building, then we can be more interested. So we really do need someone maybe to volunteer to be secretary. Would somebody like to throw their hat in the ring, Ezra?
Wearing the literal hat.
I know you're busy and sometimes can't make a meeting.
Yeah, there are some large life changes, like in my life, that have given me less time. So I don't know if adding more to my plate right now
It's a good idea.
is a good idea.
And Diane,
I really don't feel I'm ready for that, yeah.
well, we're gonna have a,
Just,
and Richard had told me previously, he has a writing issue, so taking minutes is not helpful. So we are down to,
That's it.
that's it.
So,
I'll tell you, how about, my suggestion is this, I suggest that Diane accept the honor of becoming secretary, but with Carolina as her backup.
can I just whisper in your ear? I'll sit beside you and just,
Yes, actually Carolina and I shared it. I would be secretary when she wasn't here. So, it's very doable and it's the, you just use the, template. It's really easy. You just change the information on the computer, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah, the other thing is Carolina's had chronic computer problems as well.
yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I can do it. I'll just-
You sure?
Yeah,
please have more on your back.
that's not, it won't be a problem.
Well,
I'll make sure it's done. That's good.
If he's
Okay,
really
well-
busy though, just need somebody to back him up.
yes,
Nights he's
yes,
not here.
and I think, will you continue to be the backup, Karen?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Great. Perfect.
Okay, so,
I'm happy to be a backup.
I'll be a backup.
One more now.
I don't mind being the fifth backup.
There we go.
Since we have four, I can be
We
the
have
fifth
that many
backup.
backups, we're not gonna have a meeting, we're not gonna have enough people.
okay, so right now we have a recommended slate of Susan Gaudiello as chair, Lydia as vice chair, Melanie as treasurer, and Ezra as secretary. Is there a motion to approve that slate? Carolina made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, now,
Susan, technically, since he hasn't been sworn in yet, am I still a member until he gets sworn in?
No.
No, okay,
no, your term ended last week.
okay.
When should I plan to start in as secretary, the next
Uh,
meeting, or is it?
I think we should have, Carolina, you can do it for this meeting with, and then pass your notes over to Ezra? Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Donations. The donations for the month of February, as reflected on the treasurer's report, was $845.50. And the director's report detailed where that came from. I don't remember it offhand, but you all had a chance to look at that. Is there a motion to accept $845.50 for the month of February in donations?
I'll make a motion to accept 845.50 for donations.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Melanie, you're up.
All right, February 2025 financials. In our interest-bearing checking and savings account, we accrued a total of $62.54 in interest. For liquid funds available at this time, we have $32,141.69. And currently in our CDs, we have just over $37,000. And those two CDs that are remaining, we're down to just the two, are both coming due, one on the 24th and one on the 26th. I had sent out with my treasurer's reports to Susan, the printout from First Seacoast Bank. I did go online just before coming here to confirm that these rates are still in effect, and they are. In fact, so there's a change in numbers since the last time we talked about CDs. So
Would you recommend that we combine those two CDs since they're so close in their maturity date?
honestly, when I thought about what I would suggest for the next thing to do, because we have one CD that's $10,000-ish, and then the big one is $26,857. I personally feel like we should consider locking that 10,000 away in a longer term, maybe 1 year CD, lock that away, and then maybe discuss what we want to do with the 26, because I feel like there's a very good possibility we're going to need to tap into this 26,000. We want to make sure we have it available. What are everyone else's thoughts?
Well, and right now I'm feeling pretty optimistic that we won't need to tap into that larger CD, though we may have to tap into the amount that we kept in the operating account that was accessible. That wasn't.
Yes, so the CD account right now, we have 28,000.
So we may end up having to tap into that, but I'm cautiously optimistic we're not going to need to tap into the other one.
I just feel like, with the unknowns.
It's safe to. So what do you recommend then?
Well, I was looking at the 1 year CD, that has an annual percentage yield of 4%, which I thought was a pretty good number. It's the best number on the chart. So I was thinking if we set aside that 10,394, rolled that over, put it away for another year at 4%, I don't think we'd regret it. And then as far as the other 26,000, that's what I'm not sure what we should be doing. We could do a shorter term. They have 182 days CD.
If you don't mind. When I had looked at that, I thought, because I thought we were doing pretty well on the building, I think we could put the larger amount aside for the 6-month CD, which is pretty, 182 days.
182,
like that.
yeah.
I think we'd still be okay with that. I mean, the very worst that could happen is we have to tap into it, we take the penalty of losing the interest that's accumulated, which really wouldn't be a huge
Or
amount.
you could just put 10,000 away and keep 15,000 in cash until you know you don't need it and then the CD.
Well, we already have 20-something thousand.
Well, I'm just saying because you thought you might have to pay the penalty.
Oh, I see.
Saying instead of that, just put a smaller CD, put it in operating budget, and as soon as you realize you don't need it, the next time we'll just put it back in the CD.
Also have a opinion or idea? So what I'm hearing is,
Because I'm recommending 10,000 for a year and the other one for 182 days. I really don't know.
10,000 for 1 year and 26,000 for 6 months.
Right,
What was the 6-month rate again?
3.85 APR.
so it's really close.
Yeah.
It's still really good.
Okay.
So I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second.
Got that,
Okay.
Carolina? 10,000 CD, 1 year.
Yeah.
And
At 4% and.
at 4% and
26,000.
26,000 and change
Yeah.
at 3.85% for 6 months.
So you made
I made the motion.
and Lydia seconded.
Yeah. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Investment policy, which is something we are supposed to renew every year. Review and adopt or edit or whatever. And when I looked at that, it turned out it was 2023, the date on it. So I thought, well, we better get to that. And then Melanie has done a review.
Did everyone have a chance to read the revisions or any comments?
Yes.
It seems there weren't any changes.
It was some minor revisions and typos, and Melanie suggested, and I think it's a good idea that after the board passes it, excuse me, that both the chair and the treasurer sign it. Before it was just the chair signing it. So, is there a motion to approve the investment policy as amended?
I'll make the motion to include the investment policy as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. I like how you.
All in favor? Opposed? Well, Janet has arrived just in the nick of time.
Good timing, huh?
So, we have a couple, well, you haven't met, you haven't met Lydia yet?
Yes.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But guess what?
And we have a guest here who might be a prospective trustee alternate, Debbie, formerly from Kentucky.
Debbie,
Yeah.
welcome from Kentucky.
Dana Grinchbeck is one of the select board members, and each select board member is a liaison to at least a couple groups in town. And I take it you won the toss and you got to stay with the library?
Well, we really haven't decided, but I think that's gonna be the case. I lobbied for that a little bit. I don't know, Karen, did you,
Diane,
Diane, yeah.
Karen, go there.
Where are you, Karen? There you are. You're hiding, I'm sorry. Did you swear
I
in?
did.
Oh, dear, I was gonna give you an oath of office.
Oh,
Right.
I
didn't that Richard hasn't gotten something sworn in
don't
yet.
have my official paperwork.
Well, the only one I have here is Karen's, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I went today and I have my official.
Very good. Well,
Copy.
in that case, I don't have much to report. Tracy Hardy-Cobb was selected as chair for this year with Jim Sakosh as the vice chair. And that's really about all we did this last week. Wasn't much other than naming a street or two. And I hope you all saw all of the results of the elections, not only yours, but probably the best part of our election was we had 300 and some kids vote. They named a street. It'll be Welcome Way, which is in the center. Red is going to be the color of our dog tags, and they've selected 4 of the voting for next year. The I voted stickers for next year. The rest is kind of useless.
I think passing the town budget was very not useless.
Actually, we actually had a very good turnout. Almost 30%, almost 30% of the registered voters voted this year, and most everything passed really quite handily. 50 to 60%. I mean, high 50s, 60%, most of it. So we were kind of pleased. And we got the word out, and people recognized that it costs more. It's the price to live here and doing what we do. So that's. I'm sorry.
No problem.
There's going to be so much fun having. Come back kind of the next time we can.
Well, the other news for the select board is Connor contacted me today and said the select board would like to take a tour of the building.
Yes.
So I know he's contacting people, but right now we're sort of tentatively looking at 9 o'clock next Tuesday. So I guess I should tell them to make sure they got everything nice and tidy over there.
They weren't quite sure.
But I said anytime next week was fine except for Monday. So hopefully we'll get you guys to see what's been happening.
I'm not going to be able to be there. I'll check.
Well, I'll give you a special tour.
Oh, there's a deal.
Okay, the logo committee report.
Yeah.
Diane is chair. I mean, Lydia's chair.
Yes.
I don't know who you are.
So, so last At our last meeting, we had so many things on the agenda, we really couldn't talk about the logo, but everyone did have, all the trustees had a chance to look at the proposed logo that Diane had created. And Diane, you have a PowerPoint to
Yeah, I
share
have a
with
little
us?
presentation.
Yeah, presentation.
I don't know how to share that screen. Let's go get Joe. Okay. I'm sorry.
And also for anybody who's new, Diane was very kind to offer her services as a graphic designer to create a logo for us.
Diane, you go first.
Yes. See if I can figure this out. It's been a while.
She also has library experience because she was school librarian, right? Before you
Yeah.
retired.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I was gonna save my introduction for the illustrations of the presentation, but I'll do that now anyway. Most of you do know me as a longtime Barrington Middle School teacher. I had a 20-year career at Barrington Middle School, and the last 5 years I was school librarian at the middle school. But before that, I was a graphic designer. So I'm going to show you some little things I did in earlier years, and then we'll come up to the logo.
And Lydia, why don't you share, who was on the committee?
Richard, Carolina, and I.
Richard,
Richard and Carolina.
Carolina, and you, and there were other people you had, I think you said staff?
Staff had some input. They gave us some input, yeah. And beforehand, kind of talking about colors and had some ideas.
There's a share button up in the, right beside the red box, the lead.
And I'm not sure,
Yeah. I'm not sure how to deal with
I'm not sure she's a, can do something at her computer or just what?
if there's nobody on the meet, she may be able to close that down.
Yeah,
You can just go to
close
Google
it.
Drive.
Yeah, or at least we could minimize it.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about.
They almost, I don't know.
I'm just gonna wait for her because
Yeah.
she has logged in so that she could have my link.
We're not sure if once you bring your Google Doc up, if it will be shared on Teams, but the discussion would still be verbally.
Okay, that's
Is
fine.
that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
So
gonna-
there's a link down on the taskbar on the bottom,
Where it says guest Chrome.
no, on the bottom.
Bottom. See, I'm gonna let you do it.
Thank you. Then we'll just hit your link.
Yeah.
And then when
Hopefully
we're done, if
that'll
we
work.
can minimize everything once we've done that.
All right. There we go. Okay, so my previous life as a graphic designer, in the 80s, I worked at UNH in the publications office. And these are some of the things I still have from the 80s, just so you can see basically my style, I guess. And then in the 90s, I did some local projects, including this book, Traditions and Transitions, which was a project of the public library celebrating its 200th anniversary. And so now we're coming up on the 200, what, it's 95? 30, yeah, 230th coming up of the library.
Wow.
So this was an oral history project that many people in town participated in. And my husband, Ron St. Jean, took the photographs, and many people edited the transcripts of the interviews. And then we put it together in this book, and I was the book designer. Then I retired in 2021. I became a member of the Barrington Library Foundation Board. And beginning in October 2023, I took responsibility for the social media. And as a teacher, I never did social media because I just didn't want to mix the two lives. And so I kind of had to learn about Facebook. I was already on Instagram at that point, but I had to learn about Facebook. So I did a series of 9 interviews including Ezra, who's here, and Ben, who's up there, and 7 other people. And there were video interviews, and they are still on Facebook. If you go to the Barrington Library Foundation page or on Instagram, Barrington Library Foundation, you'll see all of them if you scroll through. So those were my beginnings of. I saw myself as the social media person, that my job was to educate the public, because this was October 2023, and the Barrington Public Library bond was going to come to a vote in March 2024. So I had a few months to sort of take that time and use social media to give people a little bit of education about the project. So I did all the graphics, and I did a lot of the writing, but I had a lot of help with the writing. But the writing was really, I think, educational for people. It was very fact-based. I tried to keep it non-emotional. And anytime we had comments that, I would try to respond to the comments, and had help also with that, because, you have to be careful not to get hooked into negativity. And it was interesting and fun. And then it culminated in a successful vote for the Barrington Library bond. So then, speaking to Lydia asked me to come to the logo committee meeting, and I said I would be willing to design something, and I had no idea what I would do. So I went home after that meeting and did what everybody does. I Googled library logo. And that was a little too generic. So I actually looked at logos from nearby libraries, Durham Public Library, Manchester City Library, Dover, New Hampshire Library, and Hopkinton Public Library. And they all use some form of a book. And when I first talked to Lydia, I think I had expressed that, gee, I wish I could get away from a book. But it's very, very common. And anyway, after looking nearby, I looked afar, and Los Angeles Public Library has a book. Denver Public Library has this sort of star shape that looks like open book pages. And Rochester, New York Public Library has this logo, which is books. And that one really inspired my design. I redrew the individual book to simplify it. And my first iteration of it was 45-degree angle different from my second iteration. And I wanted to design it first in black only, or one color only, because even though I think it's really nice that we can design in all kinds of colors and multicolors, I have always believed that if it doesn't look good in one color, it's not a strong logo. So the one on the top, I didn't show you. I ended up rotating the books 45 degrees and then coloring them separate colors, makes it more apparent that they are books. And then I deepened the colors for the last one on there. My instruction was, or my wish that I heard people express, was to have modern colors. And I found that kind of hard to interpret. So I'm open to any color changes that anybody would want. I did try to have a mix of cool and warm colors. I did want to have 4 different colors. I think it shows a little bit of I don't know, interconnection. They're kind of linked, they're overlapping, but they show an interconnection. And I think that goes with the tagline, where community connects. I think it's a nice abstract shape, even if you don't recognize it as books. And I did try some different typefaces here. I didn't realize that I had mimicked Rochester Public Library's typeface at first. And so I did several others, but again, that can be changed too. But that's sort of my final resting place with it. Although there can be different typefaces or different colors used, but that just shows it as sort of a horizontal and then with the logo and the type stacked underneath it. So if anybody has any questions about the process or anything like that, I'd be happy to.
I don't have a question, I like the second one a little bit later and decided not the second one here, the second one on the other page.
Okay,
The lighter colors.
Yeah, the lighter colors.
that's the first one that I submitted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it that's the text to the right rather than underneath it.
Yeah, I liked that one too. But I did deepen it when I think people, I don't know, I think there was some,
I like that one too, because the colors are more distinct.
Right.
Each color was clearly different.
yeah,
When you darken it, then
Kind
the
of blur.
purple, the blue and the purple.
Yeah.
Look awfully close.
agree.
And the colors kind of coordinate with the colors being used in a library.
Well, you know, I had an email from Jason, unsolicited today, and he
Yeah.
said, have you done the logo?
Yeah.
And what are the colors? You might make sure it's sort of.
Right.
Which is pretty easy, because
Yeah.
the library is pretty much blue and green, some lavender thrown in,
Yeah.
and the fabrics they were chosen.
Right.
Blue is a primary color, but
Yeah.
it had all the other sort of colors as well for a little brightness.
Yeah, it's surprising when I was trying some different colors. It's surprising, really, out of gazillions of possibilities, you know, I'm not going to use yellow because yellow just doesn't show up enough. And, you know, you can go different shades of any of those colors. I don't know. I mean, there are millions of possibilities, but they want to be legible and they don't want to cancel each other out or whatever. I don't know.
It's kind of an outsider. I like it when it's twisted.
You like that
35
one?
Degrees, like on the top, because one that looks more like flower. You know, the books are there, but they look like a flower. And I always thought the library was kind of off center too.
Do you want to share other feedback, Lydia, that you've got?
So, I did get something from Wendy just today with kind of like the mountains and the river, like it's a mountain and a river.
And that was something that the staff had talked on. They didn't realize how final everything was when they were talking. They thought that it would mimic the building itself, because on the floor and on the ceiling are mountains and the green and the blue swish of a river, and it's rural, it's New Hampshire, so that was sort of something that Joe had put together.
Yeah.
To kind of mimic that. Also, what she did, I don't know if it's Hill, their logo was a loon.
Right.
So she
no,
goes,
it's
oh,
a-
New Hampshire, you know, so
yeah.
that was why that was, you know, even brought up, that it mimicked the building, but it's also what New Hampshire is, and Barrington's rural, so.
You know, I guess when I looked at that I just got today, that one, was like, well, Barrington doesn't even have mountains. Like, I mean, we're not, like, I was, like, when I looked at it, I sort of thought of the White Mountains. I thought that would be perfect for the White Mountains, but I understand like the building has
The
that
building,
color.
yeah, well, we were just
Yeah,
talking about how the ceiling even mimicked the floor, so
Yeah.
it came out that way.
And I know some of the other comments from staff were that the library is more than books, but then I know Diane had mentioned before that it's sometimes hard to get absolutely everything into a logo.
Yeah, I
And I
have,
did share that, the
Yeah.
staff feedback with Diane also.
yes, maybe I can go back to some of these that
Yeah.
came up, whoops, when I Googled. Yeah, that one. There we go. So my thinking about what you put in a logo is that it's sort of like a children's book. You know, you have words and illustrations. And in a children's book, the words and the illustrations are not one-to-one. You don't repeat in words what's already in the picture, and you don't repeat in the picture what's already in the words. So that's why I know people have said if you have some sort of human form in there, it takes in, community. It, illustrates community, the human beings. With my way of thinking, I think just having where community connects in the tagline is a real, it's bringing in community. And I also think that the books, because they're repeated and intertwined, even those can sort of represent connection of community. I'm not a fan personally of, I don't see very many here, but in many logos I've looked at, they have these little figures that are representing humans, and they're just very like a circle and a little rectangle for the body. And I'm not really a fan of those. They seem like very wooden. They don't really seem
Like a stick figure.
yeah, they're not really stick, but they're kind of like that in terms of like what they represent. So I did not put any humans or hands or anything like that in there. So I mean, there's no saying that that's not to say that that would be a bad thing. But I did not include any of those.
One of the important things from my old marketing class was that it's a mark, and it should be memorable, and it should be something that becomes known, so that when people, if they don't see Barrington Public Library, but they see that mark, this is from the library. It's like what we have now, love it or hate it, it's the existing logo. But I see that anywhere, and I just know it's Barrington Public Library. And I think you can get too busy in a logo and kind of have too much stuff in it, and then you're sort of losing that.
As I said, I like the second one, but if the longer we have this, could why we changing it?
But other people, there are a lot of quiet people here.
I like the middle one.
I agree. I like the middle one a lot, and I think the timing is good. We're starting a new chapter, right? So a lot of times if a company's starting up or changing things, they rebrand. I think it's perfect timing to do something different.
I like the font, but actually all of them.
Yeah.
I like the font on all of those better than what we have now.
You think having the different colored books, it does tie into the community connecting, because it's like where we are all different, we're also so much the same, as people.
I have to throw out my old cup, though.
What'd you say?
I have to throw out my old cup.
Memorabilia.
I have an old book bag, but it's just a circle of circles.
I have that one too. I have that one too.
May I?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Would it be weird to make the two that are this way, make them look more like computers, or would that be too much, too busy?
I couldn't hear exactly.
So two computers, but you have 2 books and then you have 2 computers, like a laptop or something like that.
The only one, I was looking up different libraries today for a different purpose you'll hear about later, meeting room policies. So I ended up going to a whole bunch of libraries, and the Hampstead Public Library had an interesting, it was like several books. And then I didn't realize what it was. And then, one that I thought first was an open book, I thought, oh, that's supposed to be a laptop. Several books and a coffee cup. It was clever. It was not too busy, but otherwise, who knows? I mean, you could put a phone in there. I mean, I guess I'm not as.
Diane, the number 2.
Yeah.
The left side, that's a different blue than the blue.
It is
in the
different.
bowl. And I like that one in the middle because of that blue. It's very sippy peppy. Not like the one down below is more matches the book on top
Yes.
and washes out a little bit because of it. The other one pops better.
Pretty much I just increased the saturation. That blue may be slightly different though, because that's more of a cyan blue, but yeah, I pretty much increased the saturation of the colors.
The only question I had was when I was trying to think of, okay, if I'm driving along Route 125 and we have a big sign out there, will that show up? I have no idea.
I would expect it to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, how big is the sign that we'll have?
Well, it's pretty big, you know, it's the sign that's covered now with the plastic thing that says,
Yeah.
has
Yeah,
to
it's-
go and
that
says
would
thank
be-
you.
Yes,
or
that
something.
won't have any issues showing that.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
If it's made to scale to that sign, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that sign lighted, Susan?
My recollection is that it's internally lit, and I could see the electrical cord going
Yeah.
into the,
Okay,
going into
yeah,
it.
because I think that's gonna pop really
Mhm.
nice.
Right,
with
right.
Lighting inside.
Diane, did you try the same logo with the darker purple on the bottom and the green on the top?
Um,
I'm talking
no,
about the middle one.
I tried several different color things, like I had just blue and green, so let's say the blue was top and bottom and the green was left and right, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
I like the full colors, for sure.
That's just something about balance for me.
So are you saying, flip,
Green
The
on top
darker
and
one
blue.
on the bottom and the green on top.
are you talking about the
I'm
third,
talking about the
Third-
middle one.
middle one? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Good try.
I think the question is, you could obviously just keep orienting that 45 degrees and see what color,
Yeah.
where you want the colors
Yeah.
to be.
Top one to me looks a little bit too busy.
I get overwhelmed by the top one.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, where it just looks like a flower.
I found that harder to see as book.
I think it's because it's all one color. I think if it was four colors, but yeah.
So I'm a little overwhelmed by the Rochester one.
Yeah, the Rochester one, it looked to me like a flower, it didn't, I had to really look to see it.
Yes.
Still like it looks like.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
books, it's books in the same way that mine are
Yeah,
books,
Right.
but it's,
Being all one color.
I have 2 pages each side of the spine and they have 3 pages each
Oh.
side of the spine, I think. I don't know.
I like the interval.
Yeah,
It also looks a lot like their central library. The architecture has interesting, windows and columns or something, and it kind of reflects a little bit like that.
so I would like to move towards either a decision, unless you need to postpone this. I think I said to Lydia, we can do whatever you want, but we have to make a decision no later than the April meeting if we want to have a sign with a new logo in front of the library when we open. So
I'd
are
like
people
that.
ready for a decision?
I can make a decision.
Earlier is better.
Who wants to make a motion and then we can continue discussion after the motion's seconded?
I'll make a motion for the middle design there.
Second it. Discussion.
Who seconded?
Diane. More discussion? Lydia, any comment on your part? No?
No, I would love to do that.
Are you ready for a vote? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I think that's a decision.
Okay,
And I do appreciate that the staff really thought about this and all. I hope that they become comfortable with this decision. I think it's a nice look.
I'd like to say a big thank you to Diane for all the work that she did.
Yes.
So much.
I know, that was a lot of work and very generous donation.
Very generous.
I would like you to consider too, I can do some various iterations of this, including like, if you look at the bottom, the type on the bottom one, it's a little bolder, it's a different font, it's a different
Yeah.
typeface.
Yeah.
So, you could picture that with the one above, or I can just do some and send you. And
Okay.
I mean, I think this also would be, well, I think you need to choose the font out of the
I can
choices.
read
but-
the font without my glasses on, and I think if I'm driving, that middle one I can read. I think the other one, the last where community connects, is really a dark line to me right now.
Oh,
So maybe driving that middle is cleaner.
yeah.
It's not as dark, but I can read it without my glasses, so.
No, that's a good point.
Could you make that line of the second one just a little darker where community connects?
Well, I was gonna suggest that I like the second one, but where community connects on the third one to move up to the second one, because to me, it's.
I'll tell you what I think where we are. I think we've made a decision unanimously to select the center one. But they're not gonna start working on the sign. I'll hold back on actually ordering the sign. If we talk about this later, it's on the agenda. So that if you wanna have Diane play a little bit more with the fonts, we can just let it settle and make that final decision. Are people comfortable with that? Because if we change the font, we really should bring it back and have the full board be, because that's part of the logo. It's not just the colored graphic.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Diane?
Yes,
Rather than I'm trying to.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much, Diane, and of course you're welcome to hear what else is going on.
Or you don't have to. You don't want to.
You asked me to put this high on the agenda, so if you don't want to hang around, you don't have to.
Nice job.
Thank you so much.
So, Wendy's getting things back set up. That's that. So director's report, which,
yes.
I think Wendy sent out. And, I guess I'll ask if Wendy and Lydia want to say anything. I don't know if you have a lot to say.
There's a couple things that are not in the director's report. I know if everybody got it. We're really happy with the staffing. Our morning staff person Pam is doing wonderful. After that first month and looking at everything she's very accurate. She's kind and considerate. She wants to work and help people. And so we're just really happy being fully staffed. So, and it's working out really well. So that's just really positive for me. Citywide is doing a good job cleaning.
Good.
And then if I said, ooh, we forgot something and I contact them, it's immediate response. So
That's a relief.
it is good. It's still a little difficult that the day after cleaning, I still have to come in, I still have to vacuum some areas or watch out because I have people who sit on this floor. So there's some pluses and some minuses still. But we're really thankful that somebody's finally coming in and taking that big brunt of a job off our shoulders, so.
And what we're doing is twice a week here. A lot of the libraries that we spoke to who use this company, we're doing like twice a week. But we scheduled it for when we move to the new library, which is a larger space. We'll have them come 3 times a week.
He does want to make an appointment when he's able to get in after the flooring is done to look at that so he can give a quote.
Yeah,
It's
they
bigger
gave us an
space.
estimate based on twice as much space as here, so it'll cost us twice as much probably.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and that's pretty much on the director's report. I did have a couple little things if I could just ask quickly. Because I did look into a trash dumpster where we'll be leaving this one here. I would need to know when the construction company's trash dumpster will be gone so that we can put a new one in. I contacted 3 companies. There's definitely a better quote from one than the others. Is that something we could discuss? So you can say it's okay to make a decision that we could contact them?
well, I can tell you right now, we have a construction meeting next week.
Okay,
So I'd say, Lydia, if you could bring up that question as to when their dumpster would be gone. My guess is, if I had to guess right now, I would say it's gonna be the 1st of June. The
Right.
first week in June, something like
Right.
that. The other thing, I was over there the other day and looking at where would the dumpster be and where is the shed gonna go?
right.
And there's one paved area where apparently they must have had a dumpster
Mhm.
for the medical building, which I figured that's where a dumpster would go, but that's also where the shed would go. So we have some logistics to look at
Right.
on that. So Lydia, if you could put that on your list for next week's construction meeting in Bowen, which is Tuesday. You're off on Tuesday? I knew that, didn't I?
Yeah,
That's
this is the
right.
commitment.
Okay,
So
you'll come.
I'll come
Really?
and we'll double check.
I'll definitely write down the
Do
question.
you want to know what the costs are? Because then I can also let them know. Not yet. Okay,
We don't need to deal with that.
not yet. Okay, but I want to just make sure because we're trying
We'll
to.
go with the lowest bidder that meets your qualifications.
I definitely have
It
one of
doesn't
this.
really need a
Okay.
board.
Oh, good. Okay, so that'll go through you.
Oh, Richard,
Wendy, did you check on what kind of equipment they're gonna leave on the property? Are they all the same? As
You
far
mean
as
the
equipment?
dumpsters?
The dumpster, yeah.
I did, and I would prefer a dumpster that had the side slide that we could lock. Because I don't want to be carrying a bag, because we still have to do that occasionally, have to lift a lid on the top and try to get it in. So all of these, I asked for a larger dumpster that had a slide side. One's unable to do that. They all could do locking, some charge to have that lock every month to have it on it. Some, it's, yes, so it ended up being, some could empty it once a month if you got the larger one that has that sliding door. And others couldn't, they had to do it every other week, and that would be very expensive for us.
Well,
So
you could
it
have
was-
your own lock if it's.
Oh, yeah, we have a lock, but we
Yeah.
need the door that slides so that
Yes.
we can put our own, we have it now, we have our own lock on a lock down there. But we do want it locked, and there's also a bar lock for the top. One company just said, oh, we'll install it for free, there's no charge. And another one says $28 a month extra to have that on there, so comparing all these things, it's like,
So I
oh
think
my
it
God.
sounds like you really did come down to the lowest bid.
Lowest bid and the best, and we didn't have to sign a 3-year agreement with one company and get stuck in
I mean,
that, so
those
it's,
are the factors that are
yeah,
gonna.
so that would be the director can handle.
And we
Okay.
did budget some amount of money, a healthy amount. I don't remember if we're gonna be over budget on that this year, but it was a guesstimate when we were preparing the budget for 2025. So, other things.
I do have, Amy has produced a purchase order for the, furniture. We finally, there's a few things, odds and ends that are still being decided on separately. But this is going to be able to go over to town hall to hold on file until it says to set aside the funds they will need when it's after delivery, it's 30 next day.
So basically, I was in Saturday.
Yes.
Amy has been working on this, and I've been working with her, and the array of chairs and fabrics and everything that you saw at the last meeting that Amy presented. We're still working on the stools.
Yes.
That go with the high tech desk. We haven't resolved that yet, but those have about a 4-week lead time, so we've got a month before we really need to add those to the order. So the purchase order that I signed was like around $45,000.
$44,101, and that's all the furniture and all of the assembly.
And previously, there was a purchase order for about $5,000, which was for the conference meeting room furniture, chairs, cards, tables. I don't remember what all's in there, but whatever it was in that particular company. But the same chairs as we're sitting on now, just getting
Right.
a whole nother bunch of those.
With a cart to bring them in and out of storage and all of that, so that's done. She's also been going, she'll tell them what she wants, they send in the proposal, and she'll read it, go, nope, they got that wrong again. She's been going back and forth with these companies, every day something new. She's got a few little minor changes, but eventually she'll have that finished also for the shelving company. It's getting very close, they finally are narrowing down the things that they.
We know what we want there, but it was getting it accurate, getting the company to be accurate.
Right.
Purchase.
Things that we're reusing, they had put down, they're replacing new. No, we said we could reuse and they agreed, so it's fixing that, so it's back and forth.
A lot is being reused.
Yeah.
So that's that.
So that's really good. I also have Joe. I don't know, Piper Webbs is our website company right now. She deals with the jail dormitory and they're going out of business, and she has been really looking into other companies for our website, and it's been very costly, a lot more than we did, and Gail had recommended a company called Cyber Optic to her. So she went in and looked at everything. She does have a proposal, and it's by far any of the other offers, for the cost. It's a better deal for us than anything else. It's similar to what we have now. There's an initial $2,100 fee, but then it's $87.25 a month. And then
The
an annual
concern
fee.
I have,
So
because is that the company that Liz was budgeting for the crime to?
I'm not sure. There were a few companies at the beginning that they were talking about, but then when they finally get down to the nitty gritty and what it was, they were very expensive. One was like 20 to 30,000. I mean, it was like.
Well, obviously, we're not going there, but I remember she had said they ranged, and there was one that was around 2,000, and that's what she was planning to budget for.
Okay.
But she said it was not as functional as what we have now, so I was concerned about the functionality of the website. I don't want us to spend
Let me talk to
$2,000 to get something cheap.
All I know is that when they wanted to take what we have, they could convert it into it very easily. And she's been talking with them more, so let me talk to her about what functionality, if we'll lose something, what it is, so that I can tell you.
Yeah, and this, if we redesign it, it's not the end of it's a big job.
Right. I think we lose Piper Webbs. I don't know if it was late summer.
We have to
It was
make,
gonna be fall, but it
Fall,
would be really
October.
ideal if we could make this decision at the April meeting.
that would be lovely, so that we know what we're dealing with.
We really, you're gonna need a couple months, and Lydia's now here, so she has a chance to
And I
get
think
involved in that.
If it was this company too, they will give us, a website so we can play with it, so we can learn how to change things and work in it and all that sort of stuff before they would do it for our own website, but, so I'll ask
Well,
for
we
more
do have
functionality.
we do have the tech capital reserve. So if the best, more appropriate for us costs $4,000, $150 a month or something, we should consider that rather than lose site that's not gonna be
Okay.
good and functional for us.
Would you,
That's my thinking.
would it be beneficial if we could find some examples of websites that use them and then maybe we could show you?
Well, I think first you folks need to do that homework and then
Okay,
be prepared to come and show us
okay,
what you recommend.
all right. Okay.
And Wendy, you haven't shared the news about the grant.
No, they still telling me not to share the news.
Well, I think, can we share it?
It's like with other libraries and everything, they don't want that out.
Well, I already heard from another library. who
Oh,
told me
did
they
you?
got- So I think.
I
So
can't
this is
remember
your sworn
when.
to secrecy. You can't take this, although we have on screen.
Please
don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I'm in the process. I applied for an ALA grant. Oh my gosh. It's for out in your community to make it accessible to people who have handicaps, maybe vision or hearing or real physical, not just that somebody has a cane, but physical disabilities and making everything that we have open and available to them. So I'm thinking, my gosh, yeah, our audio visual will be really cool if we can get that largest screen TV and have a good sound system and maybe get some of those devices for assisted that you just put in your earbuds, but you're holding it and you can hear everything clearly and making sure things within our library are spaced wise and just available to everybody who has vision, you know, even for blind, for braille and things like that. So we put together, I'm not a grant writer. And it was on a deadline and Liz said, did you ever see this? I go, no. And I'm going, oh, we should do it. So I did it in 2 days and then we got a grant for $10,000. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I really didn't think we'd get it. I just said, I put it in, I did the best I can, but I don't think we're going to get it. They had $10,000 and $20,000 grants. So, and this one would be for the big screen TV, for the audio.
This alleviates some of the stress in our building.
Correct, yeah, for some hearing, things, for some more large print books. It even gives you a little bit towards, any extra staff time that had to be working on something special outside of that it could be paper. So it's, yeah,
That's
so.
wonderful.
So it's really good, and
Wendy.
I have some webinars that it's gonna take me away, I'm going to have to watch and make sure that we're following their guidelines, what they're expecting, the ALA, so.
It's to the ALA.
It's to ALA, oh my gosh. I can't remember,
Yes, but it's.
It's for
and
community
a couple of other-
accessibility.
I've heard of a couple of other libraries getting more physical accessibility,
yeah,
you know, a better ramp or.
Right,
Or
right.
ADA compliant, things like that.
Yeah, that's incredible.
so.
Gotta get you on your grants.
Really?
Good deal.
We decided that it must be that they just needed something in very plain, simple talk of what we need and want, because that's how I write.
So Wendy's gonna
That's
be,
the best way.
I told Wendy what she needs to do because of the amount of money for the pet. The audio, video stuff, that we have to get 3 quotes for like the big screen TV and the sound system.
With installation and all that. We had one quote, it was like 8,000 something from a company in Dover. Now, I have local companies that I can look at
Yeah.
that also
So
do
that'll
that, so we'll
be
get
over
those.
the next couple months. Anything else from? Yeah, or Wendy?
Yes, sorry, really quickly. We have been for a little while now asking patrons if you want something interlibrary loan outside of the state of New Hampshire, it's a $6 fee, because we found that now mailing back things, that cost went up. Our policy didn't change. It's really the only thing in our policy that we have to make sure that we put in there correctly so that we're not representing. It's the only change on
I
our
thought we adjusted that.
interlibrary.
there's talk about, but it was never done, it was never changed or approved, I don't think, but I knew that it had to be increased. We increased from 4 to 5, and then I think it was last year, it was increased to 6. So this is our interlibrary loan policy, it's just a highlighted yellow, our hours were put up to date. But I didn't know if we could vote to make sure that that is changed in the policy and updated on our website and, in our patron information booklet. Because we have,
Yeah.
we
Well, I
have,
thought we had done that. Why, am I the only one that has a memory of,
I don't recall that.
nobody remembered that, okay. So do we need a motion to approve the revision for the policy relative to, these were out of state?
the out-of-state fee for interlibrary loan, the postage is $6 per item that we say that it's a minimum of $6 if we
Right.
have to get interlibrary loan outside of New Hampshire. Sometimes it could be more,
Okay,
And
so what are we
patron.
saying? What, is that policy gonna be $6 or is it gonna be?
to be $6. We
Okay.
also updated our hours on that policy, but it's not, that's just
Okay.
our hours.
So the request is to increase the fee for out-of-state interlibrary loan to $6. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And then on the circulation policy, we had one question that could be considered. We would like to add in, on renewals, there's one, people can check out a book, they can renew it up to 2 times. Sometimes people do not renew it. Then we're calling them because it's overdue. Then we're sending them a 15-day letter and charging them 75 cents. Then we're sending them a 30-day letter. That process would still happen. If they had just renewed the item, they wouldn't have been in trouble. And there's something in our system that could automatically renew their item, give them a notice, hey, your item was due, but we renewed it for you, bring it back as soon as you can.
That sounds good.
It's like an automatic thing,
Yeah.
which we're willing to do anyways. If they call us or they
Right.
renew online, we don't care if they renew it.
Okay.
But it also was a little notification, but it's not so, we spend a lot of staff time.
So that doesn't, is that a change in policy?
That is in our circulation policy, because it just talks about renewing. You may renew twice and you'll get a letter. But if we could just put, as of January, all items will be auto-renewed by the system up to the renewal limits set by the library as noted in the above paragraph. Items that are on reserve for another patron will not be auto-renewed by the system. It's pretty,
Okay. Is there a motion to
straightforward.
approve that amendment to the circulation policy?
I'll make a motion to approve that amendment.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. I'll second it.
I was gonna give someone else a chance to second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, what we would, are you done?
That was everything I had to talk about.
So what we would normally expect, for you, I mean, we've been a little short staffed.
Yeah.
What we would normally expect is before a trustee meeting, any recommendations for policies like that
Would be
to be summarized by you and in your report so that trustees have read it before we come to the meeting.
Okay. So sorry. We had
We'll
hoped
forgive you
where
this time.
where it was a
We
one
got that.
point issue with each of them, we hoped that would be okay. because
And I
we
remember we had some discussions about this before. I can't remember. That's all. Anyway, you're all set.
Thank you, Abby.
Okay,
Thank you.
and thank you, Wendy, for keeping the fifth afloat on the town.
I'm telling you, it was easier the second time.
Hopefully you won't.
You guys, you were so quick interviewing and hiring and so, yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the building project. Construction progress, we did offer another tour, so a few of you came last Friday, I guess it was, for a tour, and it really, every time we go, it feels like there's significant progress. It really shows some nice progress. The Bowen says we continue to be on time and on budget. So that's pretty exciting. I communicated with Jason earlier just to say, is it time to update the budget again? Because we really track all that progress. I also get a monthly report from Amy Doherty, the finance director for the town, listing all the expenditures against the bond. So I'm we have that kind of data that we're matching it. And then the other thing that we're tracking, particularly through Jason and Bowen, is any other pending decisions that we make along the way. The bill hasn't come in yet, might not come in for a while, but we, on our records, we sort of escrow that, so we know how we're doing. So it's looking pretty good on that score. So I don't have a budget estimate for you, other than to say I think we're gonna be within the budget. I'm not worried about it right now. We talked a little bit earlier about the furniture activity. Wendy mentioned the dumpster. Staff has also been looking at the copier replacement, which is something that we lease. We don't purchase it. But the plan was to stay with our existing machine until we move, not move this one, have the company we rented from take it away. And whether it's this company or another company, we'll just deliver a new machine to the new building. The solar RFP, I sent out to you all the request for proposals and the cover letter. I sent that cover letter and a link to the RFP, which is posted on the town website, to 9 solar companies. We are having a required walkthrough on this Friday at 8:30 a.m. That was recommended or requested by Bowen, that we make it a mandatory walkthrough, not a voluntary one, because they've done this kind of thing with other projects, and if you don't do a mandatory, people are dribbling through, really interrupting construction because they're just showing up randomly. So that's what we did. I have heard from, I think, 4 companies already who are interested and planning to come on Friday. So it'll be nice if we have some good competition. We did, as you know, put in there that we would like to have the companies offering some in-kind contribution, whether that's service or materials. We'll see what people offer, and did state that we had one potential bidder who had said they intended to do so. So it was really fair to everybody to let them know what the lay of the land is. That timetable is a pretty tight timetable, but Bowen said 3 weeks is perfectly fine. That's what they use for when they're bidding out subcontractors. And so the people to review this, the way I set it up, the bids are due on April 7th. We have to open the sealed bids. So any bids that come in, they'll be in a sealed envelope. They'll be marked appropriately. I think I know I sent you both the RFP, and they should be held at the library, not opened. Staff need to know, do not open this and put it in the trustees. It's opened in a public meeting. Right now, the people that are doing the review are going to be myself, Colin Williams, and somebody from the foundation. I think probably Cindy Hoisington, because they're the ones who are paying for it. I'm still hoping to find another individual to participate. It might be somebody from Bowen. I'd like somebody with a little bit more expertise than the 3 of us. And then we'll be reviewing those, and the plan is to bring a recommendation to the trustees at our April 15th meeting. I think it's the 15th. So that's that. We met with a local artist, Wendy being the Wendy and I met with Melissa Morin. She is a muralist here, and she lives in Barrington. She's done work in many places in Barrington and around. She happens to be a friend of Melanie, so Melanie was my go-between to connect us to her. And I did not send in a photo to show you, but she shared with us several concepts. I actually have it on my iPad, so I can show it to you. And Wendy fell in love with one in particular, and everybody who has seen it says, I love it. So let me see if I can just get it up quickly for you.
Where is this, in the children's room?
In the children's room.
Okay.
In that first section, not the further one down, but there's a couple of windows,
Right.
so it's like between the windows and across, and yes, be in there.
But it basically, the fee for that, just get my sheet up here. The fee that she quoted us to do that one wall, and I think everybody has been there, the story time area. That one large wall is two windows, and then there's, obviously the side walls that come out. She sent it to me.
And the cabinets, I think you mentioned, the cabinets
The,
were what you put in?
the toy cabinet, okay, open right now, there.
See,
And it looks cute when it's
it's
open.
okay when it's open, but when it's closed, it's definitely not go with the color decor of the library anyway, and with the.
I asked the artist also if she could come by and take a look at it, 'cause she also on her website, she paints people's kitchens, cabinets, redoes cabinets and everything. I said, would you be able to take a look at this and see if you could paint that blend in?
That's
So
what
she's
she's at
gonna-
the wall.
She's gonna come by, and I'm still looking up on this one. Okay, so, this is essentially the, you can walk it around. Without losing the picture. Wendy's idea was the little girl on the pathway, on the book pathway.
She's gonna be in the middle between the windows.
Would not be a little
Oh,
girl,
that's
when they
sweet.
have got here, she can paint. Sort of an androgynous from behind, short hair kids with a backpack maybe.
Yeah.
And it's been keeping with that thing of woods and, nature and that sort of thing. And Wendy's
It is. If this is not her painting, this is what she will go on. Yeah, this is Barrington, cute. With the trees, and like the trees in this color, in this room, similar to the color of the green that's in the children's room, so. It goes.
More design work to be done with that, but, we liked it, and as I say, everybody liked it. I sent it to Jason, the architect, and he said, everybody in their studio likes it. I'm gonna do all three walls. So the price to do just the one wall is $2,500. The price to do all three walls is $29.75, something like that. And there would be obviously an additional charge when we have that thing painted. I feel we can afford it, and I feel it will really make that area special. So, I guess I have down here votes, so I was looking for approval from the board to proceed with, employing Melissa to do this mural for us.
I'll make a motion. Melissa.
Okay.
And the motion should include up to $3,000.
Well, it would be $3,000 for the mural, but I'd like to have another additional amount, maybe let's say up to $3,500 for everything, to include that. I don't think it'll be $500 for that, but I think if we could have the leeway without having to come back to you on that.
She'll be able to separate those. I don't think it's good.
She might just do a sponge kind of thing, so it'll look like.
Yeah.
Well,
So we have a second, you seconded.
so it's been moved and seconded to authorize an expenditure of up to $3,500 for muralist Melissa Mormon. All in favor? Wait a minute, discussion? Well,
Yeah, I'm the public now, but to, maybe ask her to give us a little discount, and we can put a plaque up there painted by her, so she gets some recognition, referrals maybe.
yeah, I didn't ask her for that. I kind of felt she was,
She wanted,
I don't know, it's. I don't know. We could ask for that. I guess I feel a little bit for somebody who's an artist and, it's.
and I think still in a little bit of recovery from COVID and business kind of is creeping, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think, I don't want to say she's struggling, but
No.
again, she's done a lot, but I just feel like, I hate to ask an artist for that.
Yeah.
I don't know, if they want to offer.
Because the plaque would give her recognition, plus people say, oh, that's nice, I want to get that done.
I guess I'm gonna say,
Suggestion.
let's see what she says about maybe she toss that in or something, but, I'd like to have the leeway. You okay with that? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. I have to go back because I see exterior signage. So the company that is doing the interior signage, they won the bid as the lowest bidder to do the interior signage. The interior signage being the things that are men's rooms, ladies' rooms. Every room has to be titled by code. like study room, things like that. So this is not related to the donated by, the recognition of sponsors. This is just those required things. As the company that won that bid is Advantage Signs, they're located in Concord. The owner lives here in Barrington with wife and 2 litigants. So I did ask to meet with him at the site to look at exterior signage. We're gonna reuse the existing sign, the Frisbee existing sign that is internally lit. And he took a look at that and measured. We couldn't really get underneath the cover that we've got over it now, but that is did I send you all so you've seen the detail of that. I did ask him to look at the other town signs, because I thought we would want to have a Barrington Public Library sign right in front of the library, at the entrance going into the library. And now that we have a logo, we, be able to look at that. We had budgeted $15,000 for those signs, because we didn't have a real sense of what it would cost for 2 of those large signs. And the estimate came in at $10,900, so it's within budget. Are you comfortable with that?
You said men's and women's room. Right now, we have unisex for both of them.
Well,
Does that make sense?
I meant as an example, what the signage are.
I think that makes more
It
sense.
has to, whatever it is, it has to comply with the code.
Right.
So,
I saw on their website, you can go on the Advantage Signs website and see the kind of work they've done.
so that's just for an outside sign? It's
The 10,900 is for the outside sign. I don't remember was maybe 2,500 or something like that was the interior sign. That's already part of the Bowen project.
Okay.
This is considered an owner responsibility. This does not go through
What
Bowen.
about something on the outside of the building itself? That's not gonna do that.
Well, I hadn't thought of that. That,
With the doorway,
Right.
or the public library or something.
I guess that, all the other buildings in town have, like the town hall and the public safety, they have a sign between 2 granite posts out in front of the building.
But
So
not,
that's what I had assumed we would probably go with. If you want to consider something different, we can.
I think that the big sign out front will indicate that the building's a library. I don't think you're gonna need
That's
to get out of the car and walk up to it and see it. So,
Yeah,
quite duplicated.
yeah. But down the road if someone wants to donate that.
like a real.
Okay.
That's all a few more houses.
Well, I like the idea of it, but.
that could be done later.
Yeah, it can be done later. Okay. So what we would then be going with is just having them do a roadside sign. That's your
Would it be confusing at all when they're going to pull in the driveway to look?
right or left.
Which one?
Yeah, I mean, would that help people? If there was something else in near the
They
building?
have to they'd figure it out if they went and they saw animals in the building. It looks, I guess.
What did Frisbee have? Did they have a delineation?
No,
No.
No,
What did you say?
I was just curious what Frisbee had. If they had like a small sign that said.
No, no, it was
Pivot and.
no. No, pretty obvious, so.
because theirs is on the other side of the driveway, isn't it? As you go in, don't they have
Yeah.
their sign there and library sign here, so.
Okay, well, the Lexan sign, I think it is, obviously would be a double-sided sign, and that, I think he said would only take like 2 weeks or so to have that one made up. If we did something in front, he was suggesting obviously a carved sign, which is more expensive, and that would be for later. So I think what I hear the board saying is, let's just do the roadside sign at this point, see how the budget looks, see what the library looks like as spring goes along, and then we'll decide on anything
So
different.
the sign basically is just gonna be taking Frisbee out, putting 2 plexiglass pieces with our logo on it into the existing frame.
I think that's basically, I'm not a sign person, I'm not,
It's like $10,900 for.
well, no, the most of the money was for the carved sign in front of the library.
Oh.
If you look at the detail,
Okay.
the roadside sign is, $1,700, plus installation. And I don't know what the installation would be on
Where's the
it.
car sign gonna be?
The carb sign would have been in front of the building.
Okay.
As opposed to not, just a more. So.
That-
We'll come back to you if we have a different opinion next, and like a different recommendation from
That's
others,
nice.
but right now, we're gonna go with the other side, which we will wait until April, because if we make any changes in that logo or lettering, we need to have that before we went ahead with this. Okay.
So we don't need to vote now on the money.
Well, I think, I guess the vote right now would be to, approve, proceeding with the revision of the 125, the Route 125 sign,
Right.
with advantage signs. I don't have the exact number, because we have the number of the sign, we don't have the amount for any installation.
It's a little confusing with one guy, two guys.
We'll be able to revisit that in
Okay,
April.
so we can.
Okay. Very good. Landscaping plan is, I just keep saying that Lydia, that she wanted to be in charge of the gardens and the
So our
outside.
plan is to, what I'm hoping to do is, talk to the people who are interested, I know Carolina. And just send out an email to them and start with that group. And my plan is to go is, just see what we have growing right now and what needs to be done. So I was hoping to meet maybe in April with that group. And then we can come up with a catchy, so it's gonna be a group of volunteers who will be taking care of the garden at the new library. Because the Bloomers had felt like our garden club in town, felt like they just couldn't take care of another garden, so, so I thought we had a volunteer group that kind of.
Is that a garden when you're going in the front, it's to the right, or is it?
So it's more just the landscaping of the whole building, like the shrubs, everything, what needs to be trimmed.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my personal, talking to the whole group is to try to not do too much at the beginning, see what's there, see what comes up, see what we
It's a lot of
want.
work just to clean it up by
Right.
spring and.
Right.
So.
If we do add anything, really thinking a lot about it, like what is it that we're going to add? Yes.
And I'll be able to let you know, Lydia, but I'm feeling confident that we'll have enough money in the budget to at least get new mulching.
Okay.
You may have to do not the spreading of it, but I mean, I think we already had one volunteer who said he would trim bushes and things like that, so we'll see about that. Move-in schedule, that's another work in progress. The balance said we should be ready to move in, that is to say start having the shelving delivered and things like that, the 1st of June. Which is actually a little bit ahead of schedule, so that's still good. I'm estimating we're gonna be probably closed from maybe Memorial Day until the end of June, that's my guess. We're talking about 4 weeks, because obviously we have to box up everything here. That's gonna probably take a week just to box that stuff up. Have the boxes moved over there, and then the shelving people come in to disassemble these shelves, reassemble them over there, as well as new shelving. Get the books back on the shelves, and then we're having the furniture delivered a couple of weeks after that. That we've been giving the companies, I think, like mid-June to be delivering the actual furniture, which we're paying them to assemble and place around where it needs to be. The one area that we have not done research, because we've been waiting for the new director to come on, is we have to resolve the IT system. We looked at the company that the town was using, and you remember that one was, not only were they expensive, but their maintenance was ridiculously expensive. And I can't remember who told me, but it was Jim Anderson, that the town's maintenance with them is like way less than what they were gonna charge us. It makes no sense to us. But basically, it's out of our
Are they getting a
budget.
tax break for taking care of the town hall? Maybe a discount or something?
I tried that, Connor said, ask him for the deal that they're doing with the rec, and he just said, no, there's nothing to be gained there, it is what it is, it's a separate building, but, we've got multiple buildings already. They just would not work with us, so we're not gonna work with them. Joe, our tech library assistant, seems very content working with Back Bay, which is the tech group out of Dover that we've been working with for a number of years now. And so it's incumbent upon, I think, Joe and Lydia and however else you engage staff as to what the tech, what we need for technology installation for all the interconnected networking, all that stuff. And they had originally given us a price of around $10,000, Back Bay did. But I think we need to take, or you need to take another look at that.
We talk about
to make sure it's what we need. And then the other thing is we'll also be looking at what computers need replacing and so on. We can use the project fund for that, of course, most of that, but we also are woefully behind in software updates. I mean, like years and years behind. So I expect that we're going to certainly be dipping into the tech capital reserve for that, and also for the website. Whatever we do with the website is going to be coming out of the tech capital reserve. We didn't have a budget for that.
I think Joe said today something about Back Bay is offering, giving us the licenses for free for Microsoft.
We'll take what we can get.
So that was something that we were thinking was an expense, so that's
Yeah.
going to be part of our year with them. It's good.
So I think if that's something you're able to work on and bring back a comprehensive, this is the plan, this is where we're going, that would be great, and then we can nail down the expense for that.
Another question quickly.
Yes.
Do you have a ballpark of how much we have in the tech capital reserve fund now that that passed on the one?
Yes.
We got 17,000 something.
17,000.
Counting the 5,000 that just went in. So,
On the move, we're gonna need, I guess, trucks and volunteers. I've talked to a couple different people that are willing to help, and I said, just come to the library director. Because
we are-
need
we have
volunteers.
a list of some people, so if they come in, we'll take their name.
Okay. Like my truck.
And I think the job on that, because the staff has been really clear that moving boxes or packing boxes is not just throwing books in boxes. They have to be obviously very clearly labeled.
Right.
And we already had talked a little bit, we being Colin Williams, who's on our construction committee, building committee, and he's done this a million times at UNH, so he really knows how it works. But basically, we were looking at where do we put boxes when they get there, so that they're not schlepping them. Some would, put them all in the program room. Well, then you'd have to schlep them there all over the library, so there's a lot.
Yeah, you gotta figure out where to put them, it's not in the way when they put the shelves in, because they're gonna be.
Right, exactly.
Like the
Like you want near the shelves, but maybe against the walls, whatever. So there's,
That packs the books and maybe some
I think
volunteers for that you trust, and then the other people can just pick up the boxes, put them on the truck, bring them
that we're
down.
paying movers to do moving.
Oh,
I really do not want people injuring their backs with hoisting boxes of books, as you know, Robert, are not light. So, but I think staff may have to do a lot of the supervision.
2,000 boxes books.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say, you don't want big boxes. I spent my whole youth moving my father's books. And book boxes are relatively small when you go to movers.
Yes.
Don't get crazy.
and
that's
we,
movable.
we're contracting with the Huff Mover, so Colin has been our conduit for there and nailing that down.
So, that's what we'll just need to firm up too. So if things are being packed and put in boxes here, they're gonna take them out, put them in their van. We're hoping.
Well, we have to, those are logistics.
Okay.
We'll have, this is gonna be a follow-up meeting with Colin and staff as to what the logistics are and working with Huff on that. So, yeah, but volunteers are great. Amy remembers when we were doing it. I don't know if you were on staff here then, Wendy, were you? When we got this space, I remember helping to pack boxes. And we put them in trailers out in the parking lot here. But Amy said it was a nightmare even at that, So.
We had like 15,000 books and now we have almost 40,000. So it's a bigger deal.
Yeah, but you want to keep it. So anyway, we'll be working on that. That's really more of a staff project and will just keep us informed and tell us when we need to show up to help pack boxes. So foundation report, I don't have much of a report for you. The foundation is meeting week after next. They have been quite successful in fundraising to support the solar project. They have one large donation that will be coming in April when the person returns from Europe. And they received one grant award earlier. So I think with those amounts of money secure, they're up to about $130,000 on hand. They have a couple of other grants out there. And it will be enough, it's easily enough to cover the ground mount, the roof mount. The question is, will it be enough to cover the ground mount? And that's going to depend on what we get in bids and whether the cost of materials has already gone up as a result of tariffs.
So
So we will see.
you're doing both roof and
Yeah, a limited ground mount, right? So at the end of the parking lot, that corner would also be able to have ground mount
why do we need both?
because we want to be able to generate as much electricity as possible in order to reduce the utility cost for the building. Because remember, it's an all electric building. The heating HVAC system is entirely electric. So that's our effort to reduce future operating costs as much as possible. So that's, but if we can't afford it, the minimum we would do would be through the roof mount option. It's gonna depend on funding as to whether we can also do that. So that's why in the RFP, it asks vendors to give us a total project and then adjust the roof project cost. So anyway, that's what the foundation has been focused on. And actually Lydia, Roger Gingrich, Cindy Cafasso from the Friends and I are gonna meet next week, right? We have to change the time though, because the meeting I suggested was Tuesday.
Okay.
But anyway, we're gonna try to get together in the next week just to lay out the plans for a grand opening. And because which is gonna involve the foundation, the Friends, obviously the trustees, and staff. And we had a very successful open house here at this library a couple of years ago that the Friends did. So we're really looking for their expertise to pull this off. So it's not too early to start the planning on that. So that's that. Lydia, Friends.
So I actually wasn't at the last meeting.
The breath,
It's,
And I was.
and you weren't either. Well,
I mean, I looked
I
at the
was,
list.
but I don't remember.
I know it was setting up the welcome party for Lydia.
Oh, yes.
So it is that.
Oh.
Like a nice turnout.
Lydia's gonna be leading the charge and then skipping town for the annual plant sale.
Oh,
But after that.
Say it a little nicer.
Well, Lydia's going to China.
I'm going to China, visit my daughter, see my little grandson. I mean, he isn't born yet, but.
So she's gonna miss the plant sale, but, and miss some of the moving probably too, but. I think the other thing was they decided the Bloomers and the Friends together have been doing around Mother's Day, books and blooms. And that is being postponed to a future date. I don't know what the plan is, but just it was too much going on here at the library.
Yeah, I thought I'd try to do that in one day with everything going on. It's just too much. And it'd be wonderful to have it in your library. I just think about that big meeting room. Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And the Friends continues to be very, not only financially successful with its fundraisers, but has more members than we've ever had before, which is probably a little bit because of the new library and the excitement about that. So that's the Friends report. New business. I wrote down staff recognition, and this is, I haven't talked to anybody about this, but as you know, when we made, asked Wendy to do interim director, we did as we did before, interim, sort of a weekly stipend bonus for the additional work and responsibilities. And we did not do that for Amy because really Wendy was really able to manage that. But I have to say, Amy has done yeoman's work on this shopping for furniture. I mean, it's been a huge amount of her time in addition to what she has been doing. And I'd like to recommend that we give Amy a cash bonus. I
think that's great.
I don't know, I don't know if you have any ideas on the amount. I would say like $250. Does that sound meaningful?
Oh, no, to me, I think it's wonderful, whatever it be. She's worked very hard.
Yeah, I think that's great.
So I'd make a motion that we give Amy a $250 bonus. We'll have to go through the payroll thing as a one-time thing, but as a thank you for all her extra work.
Yeah, sounds good.
I make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in
Do
favor?
you want to make it 300 because it goes to payroll, they're gonna take out taxes and everything, so she's not gonna get 250.
Well, quite honestly, I thought about 200 and I thought, well, then it'll be even less if I made it.
So did you,
If anybody wants to amend the amount,
Are you saying, you made the motion?
I made the motion and Chris seconded
Yeah, I
it.
said that.
Are you comfortable with that or you want to do anything different?
I think 250. That's
I
great.
think that's great.
It's a thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay,
should I look for a suitable card to go with
that
it?
would be very nice. Why don't you create a suitable term?
Yeah, I'll
Resident
still do
silver.
that. It's just secretary and one.
Okay. The NHLPA conference is coming up and they have made a new policy this year. I don't know why, that they want all payments to be in credit card.
Yeah.
And I have not, I looked at the website, but I didn't look at signing up. It used to be you signed up electronically and then you would get a bill. And we would save those up and would give them to the director and a check would be written.
And they won't do that?
They say credit card. So that means we either individually have to register with our own credit cards.
You get reimbursed. And it takes a week and a half or so to get that check from town hall.
Yeah.
Doesn't the library have a credit card that they use?
We do. Is this a library line? Oh, yeah, because we have a line for our conferences and training. We don't have it for
Well, we
trustee
do
conferences.
budgets. So there is budgeted money in our operating account for a certain number of trustees and the library director to,
For the conference.
for the conference. And then
Maybe
we
the
used to have, if we have additional ones that came out of our trustee funds, right?
Okay.
trustee could just give the library a check. and then
check
make
to
it
make
their
sure.
credit
So
card.
I'm not sure how to
I only have
for
one.
that. I have not called their office to say, why would you take a check? We always do it this way.
I'm wondering if it's just because they've changed over to a new platform.
Yeah, the
So
app.
it's like
we don't have
less
registration.
processing on their end to not have to go and cash checks if it's already.
So do you think that means when we sign up, we'll need to put our credit card in like we do with any other?
I'm wondering,
purchase?
because doesn't the director, don't we have a bundle coordinator?
That's what we always did, yeah. we-
That's what Liz was. And so I'm wondering if the bundle coordinator can go in and select how many trustees are going, and then we can just make a one-time payment.
And you can make it with the,
If you
with the directors. It does mean you have to watch, you've got a like $2,000 cap.
limit.
But we just have to keep it under that. It's $65 per person. That's let's just find out who is planning to attend that.
What was the date on that?
May 1st.
Did you already fill out something, Melanie? No, okay, that was just probably last.
And alternates go to,
Alternates can go too.
okay.
So Lydia's not going. You won't be here at 6
His name first is Thursday.
Thursday.
and Lydia could be going. So we're talking probably 7 people. Okay. I guess what we have to do is I'll be the guinea pig to take a look at signing up. Because remember, we would indicate what workshops you wanted to go to. And they really, and it didn't mean you couldn't change your mind, but you had to. And it really looks like a good lineup, I thought, very interesting.
And
So,
why they're switching locations too.
yes, they're
Yeah.
going to Manchester, but
Yeah.
they've got sponsors. I've never seen so many sponsors.
Yeah.
So
Double
they're
tree.
covering the parking fee entirely through the sponsor. So, I think the sign up deadline is something like April
April
17th.
17th.
And our meeting, I think, is the 15th.
Yes.
So we'll email trustees about the process on that. Okay. The other thing I didn't bring you, but I just wanted to let you know, another, patron who is, plays mahjong and a regular group, and she is a quilter. She belongs to the Chico, quilt that gets all kinds of blue ribbons, and she, would like to donate a quilt to be hung in the library. And I have the picture of it, but I haven't seen it in person yet. And it has a tree in it. It's really lovely. I can bring it up, show you the picture.
It's on loan for a year.
Huh?
I think she was giving it.
The tree, I think she said she would give us.
Yeah.
The other one with the flowers would only be on loan, she'd want it back. And there's several other quilts. We were looking at it with people who were touring last week, and people saying, we ought to have a wall that is a rotating, And this would be in the adult section, so it's a little bit more, that homey feel in some of the reading areas there. So I think we'll put it on the April agenda because we have our, policy about accepting donations of things in kind, as opposed to cash. So the board needs to review that and make a formal acceptance of that.
Really a work of art.
Yeah, all of hers were really, really gorgeous. I've got that handy if you want to see it. See. Her name is Karen Hagan, by the way. Anybody knows her? This is the quilt.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my. There's another one that had flowers on it. That one, she was willing to loan, but not. Yes, I did. So it looked like it was in keeping with the whole fishbowl. I think
Nice
I'm
chunk of
gonna
lawn.
go over it a little bit. So one thing I'm gonna add here, and, I'll tell you, we have wonderful artists in town. I
It
think
was a smaller.
we're gonna have a lot of opportunity to showcase
But it will.
art.
Maybe we should do a special quality work.
Yeah, I'm already getting questions as I get yours about the availability of the meeting room. And I don't even know what a meeting room policy is here, a written policy, I haven't looked at it in years. But we need to come up with a much more robust meeting policy. And so I went through a bunch of libraries, as I said earlier, and I saved the links to their pages. Lydia, I don't know how you want to proceed on this. Do we want to have you and a couple of trustees work on a meeting policy and then bring it to the full board?
Yeah, right.
Because, people are champing at the bit.
Yeah.
And a couple of them, other towns have, charge, like if it's for tutoring and it's a paid tutoring, then they charge, I don't know, $5 an hour, I'm making up a number. A maximum 2-hour slot, so somebody just doesn't reserve the room for the entire day and take it over, or for a business Zoom meeting or things like that. That's why we have those rooms, but we've got to make sure that they're equally available. And then, all the issues of meetings after hours and do we charge, when do we charge, what's free, what's not free. It's a lot of things. So is there anybody who would like to be involved in working on that policy? It's, fun.
Yeah.
Karen Wood?
I'll help.
Okay, those 3 guys are gonna work with Lydia. And you don't have to have this finalized by April, but I think we need to have it finalized by the May trustee meeting.
Will you raise your hand? I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't have,
3 is enough.
I think we ought to have no more than 3 people working with Lydia.
Okay.
So if the 3 of you want to work on that, I'm glad to offload something. And that's the end of my list of things. This is a longer meeting, but I knew we needed that extra time. So, Debbie, what do you think?
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
So are you gonna come to the Friends meeting as well, or would?
I'm gonna,
That's like next Wednesday.
Wednesday, I have to babysit. It's my daughter-in-law's birthday, so
Uh,
I'm babysitting the grandkids. So
Okay.
they can go out.
You are welcome to keep coming as a member of the public if you are interested in becoming a library alternate. Think about it, let me know, and I'll tell you what the process is on that.
Thank you.
Love to have it.
Do we have to vote on officially appointing Robert?
We do
as
not
alternate?
appoint Robert. Usually what we do is we recommend.
We recommend it to
Yes.
the board.
So this is your opportunity. We want to recommend Robert. What's it?
I make a motion that we recommend Robert as alternate.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Okay, so what was it? You need to let me know, Robert. And is your email straightened out? This
I
point?
gave it a
Okay, because I didn't send you anything because I knew I was just gonna get it back.
that's.
So,
Once you do, she'll need that also for sending out line CC, his email,
okay,
if we don't have it.
so if you can. You know my email, so you can just send me an email and then we'll have it on record and say, look, you're linear. Something. Oh, so let me know, I can, the forms for an appointment to a committee, you can Google it on the town website. But you'll find the form there, you need to fill that out, get it from them, they give it to the select board at their next meeting, and then they vote on it the following meeting, which means it's a month before you get appointed. That's the way it
So give
goes,
it to,
Tiffany,
Tiffany.
she's the safest one to give it to. Okay. Thank you, everybody, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, so we adjourned at 7:20.